I think that one of the things that I noticed regarding the mathematics specifically was I had done this lesson with my other periods, with some of the other periods that I have. So I have 4 7th grade math classes. And what I experienced with the other classes was very different than what I experienced from the particular group that was videotaped. There were roadblocks that came up in the videotaping that didn't come up. So some of the mathematics that the kids breezed through in prior periods were more of a stumbling block, and it allowed us to, it required me to really stop and dig deeper mathematically. And some of the things I'm speaking to would be labeling the tables. And what does a label on a table truly tell the reader of the table? And can a table be mathematically correct, but not match the original idea of why it was organized, not go back to the original source or the original prompt? So we had longer conversation about that on the videotape lesson than we did previously in other lessons. So we didn't get as far as we did in previous lessons, but in previous periods. But I felt that was a good thing to be in the moment with the class, even though there were some mathematical ideas such as labeling tables and figuring out the mathematical sense of tables.
I had a similar experience as far as roadblocks coming up that I didn't anticipate, and so I think that was something that was in common in a couple of the lessons that I had watched from all 4 of us, was just that how powerful it is to really just be in the moment with your learners, and kind of, if they're going somewhere where you hadn't really planned to go, that you really take the time to do that, because that the sense making and that meaning making is really what's important. And I think that I saw that a couple of times.
Yeah, I'd like to bounce off of that. I noticed that I felt like there were so many things I was trying to keep track of and pay attention to, that sometimes a student would say something that I wasn't expecting, or took a little bit more brain power than I expected to need, and I'd have to stop and think, or ask them to say it again before I could even think about putting it on the board or go further with it, because it just, I really, like you said, had to be in the moment. I really had to concentrate on what they were saying and the things they were coming up with. They had some powerful ideas.
I find that when I get stuck in the moment like that and I don't understand what a learner's saying, asking other learners to try to help explain the thinking usually helps me understand too. So it's just one of those teacher tricks too that kind of gets you through those situations, to ask other kids to explain the thinking.
Absolutely.
No, I agree. In my lesson we were doing area and perimeter, and when Patty and I had planned it, we knew that labeling was an important issue that we had to talk about, but it became a really important part of the front loading of our lesson, where we spent a lot longer time on it. So it kind of pushed our whole lesson behind. So as I was watching it, a lot of our lesson is sort of like the introduction that we thought would only take like 5 or 10 minutes ended up taking like 20 minutes or so. And the part that we really wanted to spend a lot of time on was like the last 5 or 10 minutes or so. So going back and watching that again, I was thinking, wow, I remember that moment and that feeling as I watched it a second time, having to go back and be in the moment again.